Who's ready to win the day in sports? I know you are. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com, Monday through Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm Justin Fensterman, and let's break everything down from a fantasy sports perspective. Good afternoon, everybody, or morning if you're not on the East Coast. And if you are on the East Coast, I hope you're not freezing too much from the snow and everybody is safe from whatever weather is going on. But nothing will stop us from winning, because that is what we do at FantasyGuru.com. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, the Midweek Madness edition. My name is Justin Fensterman, with you every single Wednesday here noon Eastern. Ray Flowers on with you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. What I do on this show is I talk a lot of basketball, because that's what I do at FantasyGuru.com, lead NBA analyst. Also do some NFL work for the site. You can find me on social media, X and Instagram, at Fensty Sports, Fensty Sports, and in our DFS NBA and NBA betting Discord at Fensty _ at FantasyGuru.com. So today we've got a lot of games on today's NBA slate. Armando Marsal is going to stop by in just a little bit to help me preview said slate. I'll have the write-up up. It's going to be a massive write-up. This is one of the most involved slates of the NBA season. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have all 15 games on the slate, but both FanDuel and DraftKings deciding to not include the late 10:30 p.m. Eastern start between, if I'm forgetting, I'm having a little brain fart, the Clippers and the Memphis Grizzlies. And what we're dealing with back-to-backs, whether teams are on the first leg or on the second leg. Anybody that played last night is automatically playing today. Every team is on the slate, not the DFS slate, but every team is going to be playing tonight, just that last game, not on FanDuel, not on DraftKings. We have a universal slate. But before I talk anything content created, because when it comes to FantasyGuru.com, a lot of things I'm happy about, but who doesn't like some swag? I'm not in my jersey. Why is that? Because it's up for all of you. You guys have been asking about it here, and now you guys get the chance. If you go right here to this link, if you are part of the Elite Mafia or want to become part of the Elite Mafia and you want some swag, well, boom, our swag store up right there. Got my guru. It feels like I joined the NWO, the New World Order here. Just too sweet getting this merchandise right here. I love this t-shirt very much. Very, very comfortable. And you could go, and by the way, I saw this in the announcement sections of our Discord too, that if you get, and I'll talk a little bit more about our MVP plan at the site, well, you just DM our old MLB model right there, our senior advisor, our boss, our number one at FantasyGuru.com. He'll give you a nice deal on some swag. What else do we have at FantasyGuru.com besides, again, this shirt right here? Well, we've got this shirt as well, a little bit more on the old school side, Fantasy Guru since 1995. So I'm going to be wearing these shirts over the next couple of weeks. Here's another one for all of you. I'm just loving these designs. The Elite Mafia, because when you are part of FantasyGuru.com, you are in the Elite Mafia, and we're happy to have everybody. And also, if maybe you're a little bit of a baldy like me and you want some hats, well, boom, we've got hats as well. We've also got a t-shirt with this logo on it, sweatshirts as well, and others. So make sure you go to this link that you see right here and check out our new swag store. And I'm not lying here. I wouldn't be saying it. I'm not a liar. But this is a very comfy shirt, and it's very hard for me to find very comfortable shirts, especially on the t-shirt side. So with that right there, make sure you go and you get yourself some swag. But like I just said, we've got a lot to offer at FantasyGuru.com besides the store. By the way, this bracelet made by my daughter, this is not included in any kind of sale, but I know maybe working on a deal, she'll make you a nice little friendship bracelet right here. I've said this before, and you all know with kids out there, if you have a child and they know that you're hosting a show and they ask, hey, can you wear this, please? Even people on TV, you see the little insignias and everything from their kids there. Sometimes they have a nice little lapel lift so the kid can see the adult wearing their whatever it is, little trinket. But for me, I love this bracelet very much. My daughter, me, I thank her very much for accessorizing me today, but not included with any purchase at FantasyGuru.com. But you could be an MVP because right here, and I know I'm kind of in Billy Mays sales mode. You're orange clean, OxyClean. Get the MVP pass. But there's a reason why I'm so hyped, and that's because I love football. Everybody loves football. But now with football over, a lot of people are sad. What are we going to do until the draft? How are we going to win? How are we going to scratch that sports itch? Well, the MVP pass plan is where you're at. Become an MVP. It is lower than any price we've had for this plan in the past for the rest of the year. And you get everything with this MVP plan. You get everything from NBA with yours truly, NHL with Jorge Pucks and Ryan Clifford, college basketball, Teddy Ballgame, Ted Schuster, putting out a bunch of bets, including recently hitting one on my American University Eagles, who are having a nice year in the Patriot League, MMA, soccer, racing and NASCAR, and horse racing, everything but football you get when you sign up for the MVP membership package. It's a 60% discount of only $80. The whole year, every single sport except for football. Football is on a separate plan for reasons, but at the same time, the reason why, and when I saw this price, I was like, huh? What? But the reason why this price is where it's at right now is because we want you to keep the winning going. We know how much you love Pappy Mans' football takes, football bets. Crushed it, by the way, Jeff Mans, with the DeAndre Hopkins call that he had. Crushed it right there. Very good read on the Super Bowl for Jeff Mans here. And even with his rankings, putting in the player rankings too, I was kind of stuck. Am I going to go Mahomes here? Because I kind of thought the Chiefs were going to win and we'd see the best of Mahomes in this one. Or do I go with Hurts? And I was really undecided. I went to Jeff's rankings. He had Hurts ahead. I put Hurts in and boom, got myself some nice points there in my contest. So before we get back to the winning ways of football, let's talk about how we can win, because you know what you get when you sign up for fantasyguru.com. You're getting, from the NBA side, NBA bets 6, if not 7 days a week. I try not to miss days. I do take off a couple of weekend days here and there, but for the most part, I do not. I think I've missed 3 days, none during the week, but 3 weekend days during the entire season so far when it comes to betting. It's not just me. It's Jeff Mans putting in his famous alt-line parlays as well at fantasyguru.com that he's been hitting. Armando Marsal, who's going to be joining me in a few minutes, is also putting in some bets. But you have me in there putting bets in all the time, and I don't force the bets. I don't believe in that. I don't like to force bets. I don't like to waste your money. I don't like to waste anyone's money. I don't like to waste my money. If there's a one-game slate, like there will be, because we got the All-Star break coming up on Wednesday, when we've got the awkward Lakers-Charlotte Hornets game, awkward, from the trade rescinded from Mark Williams. Well, in that one, if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you guys, and some of you might not like that. We got to bet. No, you don't have to. If there's one game and I can't find anything, then okay, we're on to the next night. But that's why you sign up for this MVP plan right here. Because let's just say on Wednesday, the injuries are wonky. It could be a blowout. It's a 13-point spread. Charlotte's not that good. And I'm not liking anything from the player prop standpoint. Well, instead of just calling it a night or getting pissed at me or upset that there's no NBA bets, what did I pay for? Well, that's where you go to the other sports and you see what you could get in on. College basketball. You get it all except for football with this plan for $80. $80. I was shocked. I almost messaged our bosses, like, really? $80? But you know what? The Elite Mafia deserves it. And we've got all that content for you. And we work our asses off to make sure that that content is updated. We're there for you in Discord. You get full Discord access to bets as soon as they go in. You can get notified there in our Discord. Bets will also appear on the site as well. But when it comes to my world in the NBA and DFS especially, you have to be involved in our Discord. We're there. And speaking of that, watch along Wednesday. Tonight, big night. 15 games, 14 that count toward our DFS slate, and I will be in the DFS NBA Discord chat, and I'll also be creeping around the NBA betting one as well, just reacting to games, talking about what I'm learning so we all can become better DFS players. So again, there's the link right there. You want to sign up? Football's over for now. You're sad? Don't be sad. Let's keep winning. The Elite Mafia, we stick together, we win together. On to other business at hand right here. Let's talk about the landscape for tonight as you see. So we've got, like I said, 14 games on the slate. Well, you know what? Before I do that, I want to say something. I want you guys to see me and see my face when I say this right here. I talk about the MVP plan, right? And I talk about getting excited and having bets in just about every single night and everything. The 2 nights of the year that I do not bet on basketball, and this is the first of 3 messages that I am going to send, and I'm going to tell you, and whoever else, whether you're part of fantasyguru.com or other analysts out there, they can do what they want. This is my own opinion right here. We've got the NBA All-Star break coming up. We've got a monster slate tonight, a smaller slate tomorrow, and then that is it for regular season action until the solo game on Wednesday. And I know some of you don't like that, but you're probably not going to like this as well. I don't bet the All-Star game. I don't bet All-Star Saturday night. It's a guessing game. It's playing roulette. There's no skill. With the research that I can do on these players, I can kind of grind through and see what the opportunity is going to be for that player, especially when betting overs to go over the prop I'm putting in. There's a lot of research. You see the blurbs. I don't just put my bets out there and go see you later. You see all the analysis behind it. I can't give you any of that analysis for All-Star break. And I know still no one's going to listen. There's going to be a few of you. Fensty, who do you like for the dunk contest, this and that? I don't bet the All-Star break. It's a waste of money. There's no way for me to give you an educated guess because I could say, oh, 3-point shootout, go with the guy that's been shooting the best over the last few weeks, right? Yeah, but the shots are different. High percentage, low percentage, standing, moving. It's different when they're shooting threes like this. And they have their timed as well, so they can't focus on form. There's just a lot when it comes to this that I don't like. Whoever wants to, maybe Jeff Mans wants to bet the All-Star game. Go for it. He can. Anybody can. I am not betting All-Star weekend. I'm sorry. I'm not. That's where you enjoy college basketball. That's where you enjoy hockey. That's where you gear up and get ready for, the NASCAR races that are starting, but Daytona and everything that comes up with it and all the hoopla. That's where you get involved with the MVP plan with the other sports. Because some of you, hell, I go away for All-Star weekend because it's All-Star weekend. There's no regular season action right here. And yeah, I'm still kind of locked in regardless. Even when I'm away, I'm not fully away. But at the same time, I'm not forcing bets. I'm not betting All-Star weekend. I'm going to write a little note in Discord that people probably aren't going to read. I'm probably going to get hit up. Fensty, well, Fensty, I know you don't bet the All-Star game, but let's say you were. Who do you like? I don't bet the All-Star game. I don't. There's no research I can do to give you who's going to win the skills competition, the new All-Star format. I can't even comprehend. I can eyeball each team and say, based on the roster composition, I think this team's going to win, but I'm not writing it in the betting sheets. I'm not. And I'm going to have to tell a bunch of you that, but save your money on the All-Star game. Save your money on All-Star Saturday night. Please, please. And this is me also trying to sell you on the fact that we put out a lot of content. We also care about you subscribers out there as well. So please, do yourselves a favor. And if you are betting All-Star break, bet pennies. Don't bet big money on All-Star break. Even if you hit, not going to impress me. You got lucky. Congratulations. You hit on something in All-Star weekend and you're putting it in our Discord. You're putting it out on Twitter. See, Fensty, there's a way to win. Congratulations. You got lucky. I try to take the luck out of betting and try to give you great analysis, spot-on analysis that has a bunch of dots connecting, and I can't do that for those 2 days. So I'm going to be a spectator. I'm going to be a civilian. I'm just going to be watching the All-Star game. I'm going to be watching Saturday night. I enjoy watching those contests like the dunk contest and the 3-point shootout, even though everything is so slow and so delayed on Saturday nights these days, just so they can fill time. But at the same time, no bets for me right there. None whatsoever. Taking your NBA questions as well. Tony, what's going on? It's great to see you. You want to bet the All-Star game? Bet the All-Star game. Go for it. I am advising you guys to just save your money or use that MVP plan that you signed up for for $80 for the rest of the year, a very low price, 60% off. Find another sport. There are plenty of them. MMA, find a fight, because we've got a lot of our analysts that are always locked in no matter what hour of the day it is. But the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend, not my cup of tea. I'm not writing in bets for it. So let's talk about stuff that matters actually for the NBA. And by the way, like I said, watch along Wednesday. It's a fun time. Just come into our Discord and just hang out with me. Ask me questions about basketball. It's almost like your office hours. You're not cashing. You're not understanding what's going on with your lineups. You don't really know how to build. You need those strategies. That's where I come in to help. And I'm sitting in there probably from 7. Normally what happens is I'm in Discord till 7 p.m. Eastern. I leave for about 9 to 10 minutes and I go get dinner. I just crush dinner very quickly because I eat faster than probably anybody you know. I don't know how my wife eats with me because it's probably not fun at all. It probably stresses her out watching me eat, but that's besides the point. I go grab dinner for about 10 minutes. I come down and boom, I'm with you. I'm with you. And yeah, Tony, look, and thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. And it's okay to take a break. It is. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's 2 nights. Save your money. Take the wife out. Take your husband out. Go do something. Go mini golfing. Go bowling. Look at the other sports to bet on. That's all I'm saying. And maybe there are others that feel differently. I'm going to ask Armando Marsal, and he could be like, no, I'm all about betting the All-Star break. And I'll say, great. My personal preference is no All-Star break. It's good to take a break. January, when it comes to betting for yours truly, kind of sucked. Outside, I had maybe, I don't know, a week and a half of greatness, and then the rest of it, the other 3.5 weeks or whatever, were not good. February, we're getting back on track, and it's been a lot of fun. But I'm not about here after putting out, I don't know, 240 bets for you so far, 230 bets for all of you this year. I'm not about to waste your money. I don't feel that. That's me. And again, if there are other analysts that feel differently than me, then you can go in and you can look at those bets. But at the same time, for me, when it comes to the All-Star game, nah, bro, not me. Not me at all. Not me one bit. So let's talk about this for a second before I bring on Armando Marsal. And that's just the landscape of the night, what we're looking at. Injuries are going to be coming in very, very hot by 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, 14 games on tonight's slate. The late one, not on either site's main slate. So that makes things a little bit easier for me and for Armando as well, who I believe is on the cheat sheet. I'm on the write-up. And who's out today? As you see, Giannis is still out. Anthony Davis is going to be out a while. LaMelo Ball won't play. Mark Williams won't play. Chet Holmgren's going to be rested. Like I said, the teams that are on Thursday, everybody's got a back-to-back, whether it's the first or second leg. So Chet Holmgren's going to be rested. Freddie Van Vliet, Julius Randle, Miles Turner is going to be out for this game. Scoot Henderson is going to be out, which helps out one of my favorite mid-plays that I'll talk about in a little bit. Jalen Suggs is doubtful to play, so we'll have to see about that. And then questionables are Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Damian Lillard just added to the injury report before Anthony Edwards, Alperen Şengün, Tyler Hero, Jaylen Brown. Boston's been messing with us like crazy. I don't know what's going on with CJ McCollum. He's dealing with personal stuff, and he's missed his last game, so I don't know what's going on. I hope everything's okay. RJ Barrett is in concussion protocol. I doubt he's cleared for this game, but who the hell knows? PJ Washington, Jakob Poeltl, and OG Anunoby. And if I'm the Knicks, after what we saw against Indiana last night, maybe keep OG Anunoby out for another game. For a guy who doesn't miss games, he's clearly hurt. I don't know why he hasn't been ruled out or anything just yet. So outside of that, some of the top totals that we're looking at are that Pacers-Wizards game. It is a double-digit spread. A lot of double-digit spreads we have, so we have to be a little bit careful with how we build. A big theme of my writing today is going to be, do we have to pay top dollar for said player? Do we have to pay top dollar for Luka Doncic against Utah? LeBron James against Utah. Lakers are probably going to blow them out again. They just played a few days ago. Not much is going to change. So that's something that we've got to figure out, and that's something that we have to game plan for. So that is what we're looking at right now. And now let's make this stream a little bit more attractive here. And when I say that, I mean not only from the content standpoint, but definitely from the look side as well, because he pays his dues every single day. You see it on Instagram in that gym. It is Armando Marsal, joins Ray Flowers every Tuesday on the stream, joins me every Wednesday to talk basketball. What's going on, Armando? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Fensty. How's it going, man? Digging the shirt. I'm digging that shirt. I like
Dude,
it.
I know, man. I was showing everybody there, and I'll put the link back up again. But yeah, man, I got my Fantasy Guru swag. I don't know if you're a wrestling guy, but I feel like I just joined the NWO or something like that.
It looks like it. It looks like it, right? It does. It does. The NWO. Yeah, I used to be a wrestling guy. I haven't watched wrestling. I like that one a lot. I actually have to get myself a couple. I haven't got. I like the sweater as well. A lot of good stuff in there. Look at you. You just went all out.
Oh, of course, man.
You went on the shopping.
I just got birthday money. What do you think I wanted more than anything in the world? Fantasy Guru swag, baby.
I'm loving it. I am loving it. I like every single one of the shirts that are out there. It's really good stuff, man. I told Rob he was sharing. We saw it. I have that hat. That I do have.
We all have that. I think we got that as a holiday gift last year.
Yeah. That I do have. Yeah, I got. But I have the old school ones. I have the Fantasy Guru old school.
I love that one that has the Godfather thing on it too. The Elite Mafia thing. Yeah. You've got the old school shirt.
Yeah, I got the old schools, but I gotta get in touch with the new school stuff. So definitely checking it. I actually have to get a few. So I am going to get a few. But I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it.
Well, remember, if you, Armando, order the MVP plan, and as said in our Discord, and you DM the MLB model, you might be able to get a little discount code right there on that swag. By the way, I don't really wear hats front. I'm more of a Ken Griffey Jr. backwards hat. But because this is open, I've actually asked Rob, I'm like, hey, can we get some caps so I can have a closed back like Ken Griffey Jr.? But I'm one of a few there. So, yeah, there's a lot that you could get there at the store. And I'll put that link up for you one more time before we get moving on to some NBA. Here's the link to our store. Again, they're very comfortable shirts. Shirts don't fit me well, Armando. I don't have the body like you and stuff like that. I had the puffy chest, and that's why I can't wear sweaters, but very comfortable right there. You'll have to get yourself some of the new school and new swag right here. Want to ask you a couple of questions, man, and let's start by talking about something I spent about 6 or 7 minutes on. You see me, I put bets in just about every single day. Weekends, weekdays. I was telling everyone I missed like 3 days. But, dude, as much as I want to be there for our subscribers, I just can't bet the All-Star game and All-Star Saturday night. There's no research unless you have some that you could provide to me. There's no research to do on those contests and the All-Star game. You don't know if a starter is going to play 2 minutes just to say, hey, I played, and then get taken out of the game like we've seen.
Yeah, you and I had this conversation. I agree with you 100%, man. Like, it's just, there's so much volatility. It's pure gambling, right? It's not, there's really nothing you're basing your decision on. You're just purely gambling because of what you said. There's uncertainty about minutes. There's uncertainty about roles. You don't know. We've seen it. There's players come in a minute and that's it. They don't play anymore. A couple of minutes, they don't play anymore. Some of these guys are just doing this to, go on vacation, a little vacation, hang out. I would not bet on the NBA All-Star game or anything really with the NBA break. I think that's a good time to kind of, you watch these things, right? It's an entertainment. I think it's a good time though to kind of take the week off, take the time off, and look through your process. Look at where you've gone wrong throughout the start of the season. The first half of the season. Kind of look at your process. Look at what you've done. Look at where you've kind of missed the hits, and see if there's anything that you can work on and improve in your process, right? And I think that's a good time. It's like a reflection time, a reflection period. So that would be my advice when it comes to this little break that's coming up here for the NBA.
Yeah, and I was telling everyone, you never know because look, Jeff Mans puts in NBA bets like you, like me. Maybe he puts some in, maybe he sees something. So I just when people are like, because it's gonna happen on Saturday. What, Fensty? No All-Star props or anything? No. I'm not doing it. I'm not. You can ask me, and I'm literally, if you ask me, I'll try and answer. I'll give a little disclaimer though. I am telling you not to bet the All-Star game, but okay, if I'm looking at it, here's the randomly selected player who's shooting threes really well. So that's that's the answer. People aren't going to like that, but that's why I was explaining the MVP plan, that you can enjoy other sports because you know that Teddy will have college basketball bets, or you'll have fights going on and Tyler Rodriguez will be hanging out and everything like that. And we'll be helping you with MMA. And that's why I try to tell everyone that, hey, look, especially if you get the MVP plan for basketball, All-Star Weekend is a good time to look at what else we have to offer on the site, man. And you were talking about betting, and I know a couple of bets that you've put in so far. You're kind of diving in now that football is to the side for a little bit for you, and I know it's been a little bit rough. The Jose Alvarado bet that you put in the other night, I don't know what the hell happened with this guy. He was just standing around. Dude, I like the bet. I was kind of disappointed that I didn't put that bet out there because I understood why you did it, and we don't know if we'll have McCollum again. Naturally, you think that he's going to have, because no DeJounte Murray, more time with the ball. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, man, why don't you talk about what your betting kind of process is as someone who's really starting to kind of get into it in the second half of the season?
Yeah, so I really, what I do is I start going through like different props. I look at lines. I also see what the sites are putting out there. I'm like you see like what people are betting. So I kind of look at that. I look at games I'm interested in for the night. I look at players I'm interested in from a DFS perspective and kind of look at their props. Something I like to do, like if I like a player, but I'm in a position where I'm probably not going to play him, I'll bet some of maybe his props to get some action on that player and not really completely miss out on him. I don't play a lot of, I only play generally one lineup across the board in NBA. I don't max enter, or three max. I don't play 150 lineups. So on nights like tonight, we'll talk about that too. But I generally stay away from a DFS perspective. I do maybe a little bit more betting. So that's what I do. I kind of look at and I compare the lines. For instance, what are you getting on DK? Is it plus? Is it minus? Like there's one that's plus 100. So you're not paying any juice. It's kind of a bet I'm thinking of posting tonight. Still digging into it, but you're getting no juice on DK and you're getting a little bit of juice on FanDuel and other sites. So like I kind of look for that kind of stuff as well. And see if it makes any sense to do that.
And I tell people all the time, like, I don't let odds scare me. I'll say it, I'm drinking the juice. And whoever doesn't want to drink the juice, they don't have to. But for instance, when I saw the other night, Christian Brown, when I saw his line still at 7.5 for the rebounds and assists, even with Jamal Murray in there, and he just went over that. And a lot of people were wanting to take the 8.5 instead. And I said, well, let's still look at the 7.5 if you could get it. You just put a little bit of a bigger investment down instead, and then it makes up for it when you hit that bet, because I'll put out at times. I know generally, Armando, I don't go beyond minus 135. Once in a blue moon, if I see something that I'm like, this is for sure happening, I'll put it out at minus 140. But that is the absolute max for me. But still, people don't like that. People focus too much on plus money. But at the end of the day, man, if you're seeing a bet like minus 120, minus 130 that like I'm putting out there, you're putting out there, you just put down a little bit of a bigger investment and then it'll get you the winnings you want, because people want to see the big wins right there. And I get that, man. But at the end of the day, NBA betting is hard. Overs, very difficult. The books are privy to us wanting to bet the overs. And that's why I'm not afraid to drink some juice.
Of course not. And one thing, if like for those who are looking for the bigger cash or whatnot, what you could do is you can bet the bets that we whoever posts on the site on Discord, bet those individually. And if you want to parlay them, sure. Like if you go 3 of 4, you lose your parlay, but you still might have a winning night, right? Like that's the way I view it. That's someone asked me that my advice on parlays, and that's what I said. Like if you're betting, let's just say $10 on each individual, put a $2 or $3 parlay. Like you'll have some decent returns if you hit all 4 or all 5 bets. Chances are you might not. It happens that way. But if you go 4 or 5 and you individually bet each of those, bets, each of those props, you're going to have a profitable night, even if you lose your parlay.
Right. And again, and I'll say this too. I always say, like, my bets are meant to be single bets. Correct. But I understand it, why people parlay, and I get it. But just know going in, especially those that want to make a not nice or nice comment in Discord after the fact, that those bets, when I put out a parlay, you'll see it. It'll be clearly labeled. Those bets that I put out are single bets right here. For me, I look at a lot of potentials and I look at pace. That's really where I've stood lately. DVP then is kind of like that third or fourth option, but because the NBA is a little bit more positionless, I'm not relying on that as much unless I see a commonality between the guard and shooting guard and the lack of defense, then I will start to look at the DVP a little bit more. But tonight's slate, 14 games, late game not included here. How do you feel about back-to-back days with the same matchup, like the Bulls and Pistons, which last night was a juicy one? I built a lot of my strategy around that game, and before you know it, in a blink of an eye, it was a 50-point game. And guys like Jalen Duren, who was in my core four, he didn't play as much, and he didn't get off to a strong start, so I knew we were in trouble there. And I thought maybe Matas Buzelis would help out, but that game, the spread was so big, so we got cut out once after the third quarter ended, took out all the starters. Cade Cunningham, obviously, in an awesome, awesome spot from a matchup standpoint, but being that they played last night, does it scare you off of Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren and maybe even a Josh Giddey because of how much the Pistons kicked the Bulls' ass last night?
No, absolutely not. I actually love the idea of going right back to the well here. If you were on them yesterday, in my opinion, Duren is just as strong as he was last night. You know, it's the matchup hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. The analysis that you put on you know, in your article, he was a core player of mine. It just didn't work out. I mean, he one of my bets tonight, I'm going to post it on Discord, it is the over on the 11.5 rebounds. I mean, he had 11 rebounds yesterday in 23 minutes that he played. He's had over at least 13 rebounds in every other game against the Bulls. So, like, it's nothing has changed. Like, for me, you go right back to the well with Duren. I do think this is going to be a more competitive game than it was last night. Obviously, it did not look good last night for the Bulls. I think they're going to have to come out with a purpose to play tonight, right? Like, you don't want to get embarrassed again. Like, so I think
rarely see that in this situation where the team just gets walloped twice.
No, you don't see it. You don't see it. So this is the same game you were looking to invest in yesterday. Nothing really has changed. What happened was yesterday, I think the exception to the rule, it was a blowout. I think when you look at pay-up options, we'll talk about that too, but Cade Cunningham is, in my opinion, one of the best pay-up options on this slate once again. It should be a more competitive game environment, great matchup like you mentioned. So, yeah, I have no problem, especially when you look at the minutes. Like, there are no starters played 30-plus minutes in this game. Like, everyone – and it's not – I'm not saying they're rested, but these, you know, you're generally concerned about how much they played the night before in these back-to-back situations. And no one played – I think the most 28 minutes was by a player. I haven't checked the rotation or double-checked it, but I think it's 28, 27 minutes the most that anyone played yesterday.
Value option I like from that game, and we're seeing the consistency and obviously taken down by the minutes. But Asar Thompson, man. Thompson being that three, I was kind of worried that he and Tobias Harris would kind of be watering down each other's production. But let's be honest, Asar Thompson is a lot more aggressive than Tobias Harris, and those rebound numbers are going up. And not only that, man, I got away. I don't know how I hit a freaking prop because I bet, as you pointed out, I bet the Duren over on points rebounds prop at 24.5. It's there again tonight. I'm sitting there debating going over, and a night like tonight, probably a decent night to go over. They played last night, about to get about a week off, so it sets up nicely unless the Pistons just come out and dominate the Bulls again. But one of the props that I hit, and I found it really low, and I always get a little skeptical when it's that low, Asar Thompson. His assists were at 2.5, and his potentials, bro, over the last 3 games, 9. Yep. 9 potential assists. And despite not playing a lot of minutes, he still went over. He had like 4. So again, this guy can score. He's been rebounding. He's been bringing up the ball a little bit. A nice, juicy value play. And that's a play I like, even fearing that this can happen again. Because I think the Bulls just stink now and they don't play defense. But still, I think Asar Thompson's one of the most appealing value plays.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a very strong play. I mean, he was I don't want to say I consider making him curious, but he was someone that I really liked. He was in my actual roster. So I have no problem going right back to the wall. I think he's playing more minutes. He's getting more usage. He's just playing better basketball. And he's getting the opportunities he wasn't getting earlier on, right? Like, I think that's what we're seeing. So I'm glad that he's getting these opportunities. So I'm with you when it comes to Thompson.
How are you handling the Lakers tonight? Because you saw, and this, unfortunately, this sucks, Armando, because it's a great matchup, but you saw Austin Reeves produce a lot. So his price is still high, even with Luka Doncic there. Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves. Is that a situation that maybe you're staying away from tonight, being that Reeves is just very expensive, as are the other two? We don't know how many minutes Luka is going to play, but how are you handling the high-priced Lakers options?
Yeah, I'm not going there tonight. I like the matchup, like you mentioned. It's a really good matchup against Utah. We saw them blow them out the other day. But for me, it's a 14-game slate, right? And if there's risk of blowout, or, that the prices haven't really truly adjusted, in my opinion, for what we could see, in the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to stay away. I think there are better options in this price range at the positions of some of these players, and even outside the positions. And I feel a little bit better about paying up tonight. If it was a smaller slate, we'd be having a much different conversation. But you have so many options. That's the beauty of one of the beauties of having such a big slate, that you have so many options to choose from.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly if LeBron and Luka are going to play. They might give him a little bit of a break ski earlier. And I'm looking, because there are a lot of contingencies on this big slate tonight here, trying to see. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers don't play. I mean, that's the good news. The Lakers don't play tomorrow. Utah does, but the Lakers don't. But regardless, preservation is going to be key here, because if the Lakers are going to go on a run, this whole Mark Williams trade being rescinded totally screws them. It totally does. It took, unless for somehow the league figures out that this trade has to go through and puts it, because it's an awkward situation, Armando, because Dalton Connect doesn't want to play there. He's mentally not ready to play. That's all we keep hearing from him. And he and JJ Redick are not on the same page. Mark Williams isn't going to play tonight, but it's weird that he was playing and then he fails the Lakers physical. And it's the whole thing that's interesting to bring this full circle. Both teams are playing each other in the solo game on Wednesday. Our first game back is a solo night on Wednesday, and it's those two teams, and that's it, man. So that's why I asked you about the Lakers, because there's a lot of appeal. The Jazz don't play good defense, but at the same time, the prices are just so high that even with Austin Reeves being, 8,500, I just am thinking Luka's going to play a little bit more than he did in his first game as a Laker. I just don't trust that Reeves' production ceiling will be there.
Yeah, you need this to be a very competitive game, and you need Luka to be on some type of limits, right? Like, I don't see many scenarios where Luka's playing high minutes, LeBron's playing high minutes in a competitive game, and Austin Reeves hits his ceiling all that much, and he doesn't need a ceiling game to hit that 80, like to return value. But if you're trying to win a tournament in a GPP, you are going to need a ceiling game from someone like Austin Reeves at 8,500 to probably win the tournament.
Hanging out with Armando Marsal at Armando_Marsal on X. Find all of his work at fantasyguru.com. And Armando, your official title for the site is site manager, right?
Yes, sir. That's the official title. Yes.
I thought I was going to be fired if I got that wrong. Not here. Good thing I'm wearing the new Fantasy Guru t-shirt. But let's talk about one of the highest totals on the night, tied for the highest total on the night, the Pacers and the Wizards. Double-digit spread. It's always a risk when it comes to battling against Washington, but still, it's so appealing there. And I have to ask you, because we know that Miles Turner is going to be out. Are you feeling Haliburton, who just – you never know, big box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get from him. But Pascal Siakam, man, especially if Sarr doesn't play again, I think is in another smash spot tonight, even if his minutes are chopped a little bit.
Yeah, I think Siakam's just too cheap for what he brings to the table, in my opinion, in this matchup, right? Like, you look at, recent games, he's giving you a couple of 50-plus DK point games, and he's still sub 8K on DK, right? Like, and it's a very good matchup, a good game environment, very good pace of play. You mentioned these are some of the little things you look at when you're making bets. This is some of the things I'm looking at when I'm, choosing players to play in DFS. And Siakam just checks off so many boxes. He would be if I was on content tonight. I'm not on content. It's you and Serge.
Oh, it's Serge on the cheat sheet.
Because I'll be doing the article tomorrow, actually. My son has a baseball game. That's why. But yes, to say he would be a core play of mine tonight, and I think this is why he's one of several. Like, Duren, and a couple other players that I'm looking at tonight are a reason why I think balanced approach makes so much sense this evening. Because you have some of these players that are, I think, underpriced with massive ceilings in good spots. And Siakam, for me, he's one of my favorite players or plays on this overall slate when you're looking at everything. So yeah, I think this is a great spot for him. I think Thomas Bryant is another one you can consider here. Yes. I think when you're looking at value, he has to check off a lot of your boxes, right? He's getting the minutes now with Turner out. He's starting. You look at, so I have the numbers here. So in 4 games that he's started, he's averaging 27.3 minutes per game, 15.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, 1 steal, 2.5 assists, 0.5 blocks. He scored at least 29 DK points in 3 of those 4 games that he has started at 5K. That's talking about almost 6X. You're probably going to get, 6X here in this spot. I like it a lot. And to kind of, echo what you're saying about Tyrese Haliburton, I do think he's volatile. But I think he's one of those players that has a significant ceiling, and he's going to be very low owned. If you're looking for a potential GPP winner, I think he's someone that can swing something like that for you. But for me, I think Siakam and Bryant are the 2 strongest plays here for Indiana tonight.
Yeah, Thomas Bryant, just very attractive tonight. And, again, it makes me wonder with the center position as a whole, if we necessarily have to go with a high-priced guy because, look, Jokic is going to be in a potential blowout situation. We know that. Karl-Anthony Towns, I love the matchup because the other highest total with the Knicks and the Hawks, they always seem to have good matchups. And the Knicks work well with that Atlanta pace. And that's why I don't want to just close the door on some of the top options. I had Jalen Brunson in my core, and I was asked by our subscribers if I could, because as you know, I have a good relationship, not name dropping or anything, with a lot of NBA players because I get asked a lot about whether certain players are playing. So I text them, they tell me, and I tell our subscribers. But Jalen Brunson, I was asked by our subscribers to text him and be like, hey, are you shooting with the wrong hand? Because he just stunk it up last night from the field. But this is Atlanta we're talking about here. And now going up against Atlanta, massive pace-up spot. Trae Young, Jalen Brunson, both in good spots again. Karl-Anthony Towns in another good spot. How are you handling this Knicks-Hawks game?
I love the idea of going right back to Brunson. I really, truly do. Again, I don't want to sound redundant, but this is balance. Balance is key tonight, I think. He's underpriced in this spot. I think he's 8,400 tonight, if I'm not mistaken, on DraftKings.
Let me go back to my doc.
I think that's Jalen Brunson. I think
he's at 8,400 on DraftKings, 9K on FanDuel.
I think you're getting a very strong price for him tonight, given the situation, given the matchup, given the pace like you mentioned.
And they hate Trae Young so much.
They do.
They all do.
They do. And then, like, these are the things you look at recency bias, right? Like, everyone's going to be like, well, he let me down. He was shooting with the wrong hand last night. I don't want to go back. Well, guess what? There's 14 games to choose from, so I'm not going to go back. This is a great time to go right back to the well here. Another good matchup here. And I like it. I think he's someone that I have as we have a show sheet. He's someone that I have as going right back to the well, paying up. And Towns, like for me, it's Cade Cunningham. He's my top option. Towns is right behind him as my 1A, 1B for me tonight. If you're looking to pay up, that's how I view those two. Towns just obviously great matchup here, and in a phenomenal spot, like pace up spot for him as well. So. I like the Knicks. I'm on the Knicks as well this evening.
I haven't decided if I'm writing him up yet because he hasn't done well against the Knicks, but the Knicks haven't been as good defensively. Dyson Daniels has taken on a lot more of a secondary floor general role. We're seeing it. And by the way, we're hitting a lot of bets with his rebounds and assist props that we're putting out there. Although I didn't the other night, still with Dyson Daniels, I don't like the game environment for him. The Knicks, though, have been giving up points and assists to guards lately, and even rebounds, too. That's their one area of vulnerability, their backcourt. But I just feel like when it comes to this matchup, if we're going to go in, we got to go in on Trae Young, and that maybe takes me out of the Dyson Daniels pool in a bad game environment.
I'm not completely against Daniels. I think in tournaments you can if you're looking for someone to run it back with. He has had some struggles with him, but he's like the only game he attempted, I think it was over 10 shots, if I'm not mistaken, was the first time they faced each other. He went 3 for 16 in that game. I'll pull it up for you, but I think hold up, sorry, I'll pull it up.
Joel Embiid just ruled out tonight. Thank goodness.
Yes,
We're going to go there next. Thank goodness
for
that.
Yeah, so look, so in that first game, that was November 6th. He went 3 of 16. Then he went 4 of 10, 5 of 7. I bring that up because he's just taking more shots now, right? Like he's taking more shots now. I think that's going to give him more opportunities to put points on the board. You look at his price tag, and I still think it's 7,100. You're looking at 5x is what you're trying to get here from him. I think you can easily get that tonight in this game. But I would only do it in tournaments. I wouldn't do it in cash. I do think that floor is somewhat unstable in this matchup.
So we've got 14 games tonight. It's one of the biggest slates of the year. There are very few days. I think there are only, if I remember, 3 days of the entire season where all 15 teams play. The night before Election Day, for some reason, is one of them. This day right here, and then the final day of the season, which is pretty much a battle royale for playoff seeding, and it's so much fun. It's the closest thing you'll get to like game day for NFL, the final day of the NBA season. They do it really well. But the 76ers, I mean, the Nets stink at this point. They're in tank mode. They're in just, get rid of that cap, get some picks, get some assets here. We don't have Joel Embiid, we just found out. We also, for argument, we don't have Eric Gordon, we don't have Kyle Lowry. So let me ask you this. Being that the Sixers can still beat up the Nets in this game, we've talked about some really good game environments for high-priced guys. We just talked about Towns. We just talked about Cade Cunningham. Tyrese Maxey isn't in a good game environment. And the Sixers are still likely, it's a 2.5-point spread, and it's probably going to remain that way. But do you now, with Embiid out, consider Maxey and even Paul George? Or do we maybe go another direction and look at, for value and mid-price, Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, and Quentin Grimes? How are you handling Philly now?
I probably stick around that Kelly Oubre section. I think he's priced, in that mid-range where you don't need a lot. I think Maxey's a bit priced up. Maxey hasn't really done well in this matchup either this season. So for me, it's going to be Oubre if I go there. But with so many games to choose from, there are other guys in that price range that I feel so much better about tonight. So I probably won't end up there. The only reason why you would be wanting to go here is if you really think that this game, is going to hit the over. Like that's what you're looking at, this game hitting the over and it being a competitive game environment, with hitting at the over. So for me, Kelly Oubre would be the only guy I'm looking at here, given the price tag. But other than that, I'm not really too interested in many of these players here for Philly.
I'm into Grimes for GPPs. I like Grimes. No Gordon, no Lowry. McCain's out too, as he's out for the year. There is some openings right there. And with no Embiid, it takes that ceiling away from a lot of those options. But with, again, so many options here,
he's doubtful.
Needs to, what's that?
Grimes, by the way, I think Grimes is doubtful. I think I just saw that. Now. Check pop. I think I just saw that pop up. Let me see if this is right. Let me make sure. Hold up, because I think I just saw it pop up now, and it's saying coaches. Let me see.
Makes me like Kelly Oubre.
Maybe I'm wrong. Hold up, because
you're never wrong. Are you kidding me?
No.
You?
Yeah, I am.
You're the Mind of Marsal, which, by the way, also on the Elite Plus Network, Armando's podcast, The Mind of Marsal. 2 episodes a week come out. You just go to fantasyguru.com. You hit the Elite Plus tab. You'll see, if you scroll down a little bit, the Armando's Mind of Marsal logo. You'll see my Fensty's Basketball Diaries. I put out an NBA podcast once a week. Armando puts out his podcast twice a week.
Yeah, hold up. Okay, I saw it in one place, but I'm only seeing it in one place.
Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing it yet about him being doubtful. Makes me, if he's listed as doubtful all of a sudden, it makes me start to wonder.
Oh, no, you're good. No.
Okay, we're good still. All right.
Yes, you're good.
As of this moment right now, Grimes, good for GPPs at 4,700. I like the minutes. People forget Quentin Grimes was the player that stopped the Knicks from trading for Donovan Mitchell a few years ago with Utah. It was because of him. But the reason why they love Quentin Grimes, his defense. And if he's going to be hustling, playing that good defense out there, being a nice blue-collar player, he's going to get more minutes. And we've seen him now score in double figures a couple of times here, a few times since joining the team. But we've also seen him not only rebound, 7 in both of his last 2, but also contribute assists, so will get some time to bring up the ball. And thinking that the Sixers are going to have a decent lead, he'll get some time with the second unit, Armando. So that's why I like him at 4,700. You mentioned that you liked other players in the maxi price point tonight. Who are some of your favorite high-priced options?
Yeah, so for me, Cade Cunningham, been saying him all night. Towns, I like the idea of going back to Brunson. And those are the top three. Like when I'm looking at, really high price guys, those are the top three in my book. If you're looking for some others here, I would say Trae Young in GPP always is intriguing against the Knicks to me because he just plays at such a high level against them. He tries to bring that intensity. So he's someone if you're looking for tournaments. But
what about the Spurs guys? What about Fox? Because again, we're waiting on some Celtics injury news. But what about Wemby and Fox? Any interest in either?
I'm okay with Wemby, but again, I don't know if I want to pay, upwards of 10K for him tonight on this slate. That's my thing. Like, it's so many options. That's a game that you have to pay attention to use, right? Like, I think use is gonna change the way you approach that game. But yes, he grades out really well for me in my model, Wemby. But I'm just not looking to pay up that much here for one particular player. I'm okay with him, but again, it's just a price thing for me, nothing else. I think Kyrie Irving is interesting. I do think he's interesting in tournaments, but again, he's probably going to be somewhere where I bet a prop instead of actually rostering him if I decide to play tonight. I haven't decided if I'm going to play DFS tonight, so if I do play DFS tonight, he's someone that instead of rostering, I might be betting props.
So when it comes to center, I mean, here's some of the value options that I'm looking at right now. I'll give you 4 that I'm looking at, and you tell me who you like between them. And if you want me to give you prices, I could give you them as well. Walker Kessler, who can produce in volume. We just saw 2 days ago that he nailed a double-double. The Lakers, who are they going to send at him? Jackson Hayes, get out of here. Rui Hachimura, get out of here. It doesn't matter. So Walker Kessler, very fairly priced, under 7K on both sites. Jalen Duren, we talked about that. Not going to get much better of a matchup. Let down, I'm guessing. And Detroit would be stupid not to feature him more. They didn't feature him much last night. He was barely taking shots. I think that changes tonight. Bobby Portis, number 3 right there. No Giannis, so Portis now back in action. He let down the other night when I put him in the core 4. I was pretty disappointed, and the ownership was way too high on him, but tonight's a new night. And then number 4, Jared Allen. Those 4 to me are nice value options. Is there any of those 4 names, Allen, Portis, Duren, Kessler, that stand out to you or you like all 4?
So Duren, we talked about this already. I think you go right back to the well with him. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like projection as far as ownership is concerned is 13. I think that's too low for this matchup.
You're afraid of the blowout again. That's why.
That's why I want to go. I would go right back to it. The more and more we talk about it, more and more I think I'm going to play a tournament just for that reason because I think the ownership is going to be really, really bad for some of these players where or off, I guess you could say. I like him a lot. I love the Portis call. I truly do. You could put him at power forward too. That's what I like about him because we talked about Thomas Bryant. So I really do like the idea of going, with Thomas Bryant and Duren at center, like going double center there. Portis would be someone I put in the power forward. So I like that call a lot. And Allen, I absolutely love that call. Like, I think he is such an interesting play. The only concern I have there is obviously that spread. Like, you see that spread, and he'll be one of the first ones, I think, to come off the court. Him and Mobley. So, yeah, I that's my only concern when it comes to Allen.
And Allen's cheaper than Mobley, so you can take the hit with that.
Correct.
It's just lately we've been seeing Mobley. I don't know what happened with his minutes because we were talking about this last week that the guy just wasn't playing 30 minutes, and then we started seeing him play in those 30s a little bit more. So if I'm looking for a play, because you're right, we do have to take the spread into consideration here. If I'm looking at one of these 2 on a 14-gamer, maybe it is smarter to go cheaper. But again, we just named 3 other centers that have a clear path to minutes, and like Bobby Portis, for instance, and Jalen Duren, although that game, we've got to keep what happened last night and whether or not, because if this happens again tonight, Armando, with Jalen Duren and the Pistons just up by 50 the whole game, I might be done attacking the Bulls outside of value unless half a team is out. Like, all the Sixers are ruled out, but they have Tyrese Maxey in with all the scrubs. Maybe then I'd say go in GPPs and enjoy. But at the same time, man, there are going to be teams, as there tend to be around this time, the Bulls, the Hornets. These teams are going to be playing for the lottery at this point, man. And I don't want to, even the Nets, I don't want to be caught up just because the game environment is so strong because the Bulls play so fast. So tonight is the night on whether or not we can trust the Bulls to keep these games, actual games, until midway through the fourth for the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's ultimately why, like, instead of Cunningham, if I do a lineup, it'll be Duren that's in that lineup because I'm not taking the salary risk, right? Like Duren is still very affordable at sub 7K. So I agree with you. I think avoiding kind of some of those spots, especially in such big slates, right? Like when there's smaller, like last night we had a 4-game slate. I think tomorrow we have 5 games on the slate. Like those are small slates. You got to take chances. Like you got to take risks in those smaller states, and you just have to, you have to accept the fact that there's a potential blowout, but it's a great game environment and you're going to be invested in it. But on a slate like tonight, if you want to avoid it, I totally understand. For me, this Detroit-Chicago game, that's the exception to the rule. I am trying to avoid any other games with, large spreads. I would be trying to avoid any other games with large spread. And that doesn't have that large of a spread. But, I know a lot of people are going by last night. So, for me, that's the exception to the rule. I'm willing to at least give it one more go, right? But like you said, if the Bulls now start getting blown out, yeah, at that point, we got to reevaluate it. But this, we're going by what last night's, that's all we're doing. We're going by last night, and we're letting that stick back here, just the back part of the brain say, do not forget about that. Let's forget about that. Let's move on to today and just trust the fact that this is a phenomenal matchup for these guys.
Right. Games don't always go because if you look on any model from yesterday, anybody would have had Duren. Okay.
Duren was the top player on my model.
He was for a great reason. And now we're likely, because of the paranoia, going to get him back at less ownership. Walker Kessler just got walloped by the Lakers. But you know what? He produced in volume. We can go in. We can trust that right there. You're having a decent amount of these games that the teams just played each other. Denver, Portland, they just played each other. So that's another one right there. And that's why I'm wondering when it comes to someone like a Nikola Jokic or anything. I mean, do you think that, and I know that's been a big theme, do you think we need to go that high for Jokic? Because with what Portland's bringing tonight, just like last game, Denver could be up by 25 points, 30 points heading towards the end of that third.
The only issue I have with players that are that high priced in potential blowouts is when they're priced so high, you need somewhat of a ceiling game, right? And in order to get a ceiling game, you are hoping for the most minutes. In blowout situations, a lot of these players are not going to play up, their regular allotment of minutes, which makes that path to reach their ceiling a little bit more difficult. Can it happen? Sure. Has it happened before? Absolutely. But do I want to put my money on it that it's going to happen like as consistently as, we see some of these situations be for us? No, I'd rather not. And if that means I miss out on a Jokic ceiling game, okay, I'll miss out on the Jokic ceiling game. I'm okay with that. But you truly need he's 12-1, right? 12-1,
yeah.
I think it is. You're talking about how many? I mean, 12-5, I'm sorry. You're talking about you need 70. I've
got 2 players I'm zeroed in on right now from that game. Anfernee Simons.
Yes.
And on the other side of the matchup, I'm also looking and taking into consideration Christian Brown, who has been very solid overall. And those are 2 players in this game environment that I think can still end up hitting that 30-minute mark, even in a double-digit game. So, and no Scoot Henderson tonight, which should put the ball, because I had that Simons prop with the assist the other night in this exact matchup. And guess what, Armando? I'm freaking going back to it again. Denver gives up the most assists. Simons, everybody was failing Simons. He won't have Scoot Henderson this time bothering him and taking away from the assist. And I'll have to go back and check it right now one more time. But if I see it, and I'll check it in real time with you, if I see that assist prop once again for Simons at 5.5, and it is actually at 5.5 plus money. That's one that I'm going to be looking at. Give you guys a little context clue right there. That is a bet that I'm going to be zeroed in on this monster every team is playing slate of games. And if you, by the way, want to be an MVP, you want to join the fun, you had a lot of fun with us with football, reading Armando's content, watching his streams, listening to his podcast, then become an MVP and enjoy all the other sports. Armando does a lot with our NBA team as well. and fantasyguru.com/product/MVP-pass/ you see the link right there. And Armando, I almost hit you up about the price because it's such an appealing price point. $80 for the rest of the year for all that we offer except for our football products. That is a steal and a 60% discount right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have NASCAR starting out right now, and there's I think it's Daytona. I'm not sure, but it is Daytona. Yes, you're right. And it is Daytona. So like you got that flow, you got like so much, and you said it doesn't include the football content, but we have franchise mode coming out soon as well, which will include some football content there. So yeah, man, I agree, man. Too much content. You have Discord access, you have live stream access, you have your podcast, Fensty's Diary. The Basketball Diaries there. You're going to get the Thunder Guru podcast there. Yep. Yes, correct. You have that right now that they just got nominated for an award there, but
for the FSWA.
Yes, correct.
You won an award last year for the FSWA, right?
I was a finalist last year for Writer of the Year. But no, I did not win. I have won an award for Writer of the Year, but no, it wasn't last year. I won it a couple of years ago. I think it was 2020 or 2021.
Sean Angle, Rich Valeto doing a great job.
Yeah, man, they're doing great things over there, man. They're finalists right now for Bets podcast. So go get that. You get that included in this MVP. So you got great stuff there. Great team, great mind. So definitely recommend it, man.
What do you have coming up on the site when it comes to, obviously your basketball content there, you're going to be on the content tomorrow. Maybe we see you, but maybe not, and watch along Wednesday because you're a content provider and a site manager by day, a coach by night, Armando. So maybe we see you, maybe we don't, but anything football related coming up?
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast on Friday. I'm going to kind of recap the Super Bowl and we're going to talk about some other football related stuff, maybe a way too early top 10. I also want to look back at some surprises from this past season, things like that. So Tyler Beaker is going to be joining me for that podcast. We'll be talking football. And then basically we got a lot of stuff in the works right now. And before you know it, it's draft season. Before you know it, it's rookie profiles, all of that good stuff, free agency, all that good stuff. And as usual, we will be covering it there at fantasyguru.com.
He is Armando Marsal. I thank him for joining. As always, joins Ray every Tuesday, joins me every Wednesday, talking different sports. But that's what Armando does. He's a multi-sport varsity athlete and Elite Mafia member. For me, what's coming up on the site, I've got the monster 14-game slate write-up coming up. Rob Povia, our editor, I'm so sorry for what you're about to receive in the next 90 minutes from now, sir. I apologize, but there are very few days where it has that many games. DFS, when our DFS NBA Discord channel, I'll be helping build lineups with Serge Singh in there, and then watch along Wednesday from 7:10 exactly until around 9:35 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be in there just hanging out, reacting to the games, watching the games, just putting up some analysis. I'll have a new Fensty's Basketball Diaries podcast coming out. I'm going to do a little recap of the first half of the season and also talk a little bit of wagering for futures. Next week on the show, I am going to be doing some futures for the NBA for the rest of the way. So make sure you're locked in because next Wednesday we'll have just one game on the slate. I'll cover it and I'll cover it with Armando. But maybe I'll present Armando some futures next week and he could tell me if he would place the bet or not. We'll play a little game out of it. But for all of us at fantasyguru.com, become an MVP, sign up, $80. That is it for the rest of the year. All of our sports and all that we offer, Discord, betting sheets and everything except for football. Ray Flowers back tomorrow right here, same time, same place, same channel, Fantasy Sports Daily on the Elite Plus Network, powered by fantasyguru.com.